Look, the Giants are scuffling. Their lineup is just atrocious. We'll get to the NBA playoffs and Anthony Edwards, who reminded me and many others of a number 23 who played for the Chicago Bulls. That's how that looked in game number 1 against the Denver Nuggets. And the Nuggets are in trouble against Minnesota. They look deeper. They got the size. You got 3 dudes who could switch out on the Jokic. Jamal Murray's compromised. Anthony Edwards setting the tone and saying, I got Jamal Murray. Back up. I'm defending him. While going out here cooking for 40+. I mean, just an unbelievable display of skill. You got the Cavaliers going to the second round. You got Knicks, Pacers. You got OKC and the Mavericks as the Clippers bow out as Kyrie Irving was putting on the show. Spinoni, hell of a weekend. Oh, Canelo won. You got the monster anyway winning and sporting out in Japan. I'm loving sports right now.
Tom Brady got roasted last night.
Tom Brady got roasted. Oh, and by the way, the 150th Kentucky Derby.
Oh.
Spinoni, this is not hyperbolic. It's just not. Remember the feeling? Were you watching UCLA Gonzaga live, the Final Four? A couple years ago during the pandemic.
Suggs, right?
When Suggs hit the half-court shot.
Yep.
What was your reaction? What did you do when that shot went down?
I went, holy bleep. Like, that was just, I was actually listening to it on the radio, driving down to Monterey, whoever was covering the game. Really good, whoever it was. And I went, holy bleep in the car. Benny was asleep. Jade was nodding off or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, this is like one of the greatest games I'm listening to ever.
Right.
And I watched it, it was even crazier. It was a pandemic season, right?
It was the pandemic season. I remember Baby Chaz was asleep and he hit the shot. I'm like, oh, and it got really mad at me. He's like, we're going to win, girl. I said, look at this shot. This is incredible.
I was like, I don't know who this is. I don't know where this school is. I don't care.
I don't care. Jim Nantz on the call. His voice cracked. I never heard Jim Nantz's voice crack. So I'm watching the Derby. And we all, we had Chad Schroop on Fridays, covers horse racing for TVG and FanDuel, and he was setting it all up. And you see all the pageantry and stuff. So I was locked in on a Saturday. Baby Chaz and Anna went to a kid's birthday party, a classmate's birthday party. So I'm watching the Derby and the presentation. Now, they preview the race for about an hour for a 2-minute race.
Exactly. It's all one big show.
It's all one big show.
Is my guy Johnny Weir still there?
Mike Tirico.
Mike Tirico. They're doing all the hats and everything.
Ahmed Fareed is out there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is great. But the presentation, and then you got the owners of the horses, right? You remember Sopranos when they had their horse.
Yeah, Pyomai.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
remember when they had their horse and how antsy they got. Well, NBC, right before the race, they show the owners as they get out their jackets and they start locking in, and you see the intensity on their faces like, let's go. And one of the owners, the horse Fierceness was the favorite. Now, that owner, I forget his name, but that owner had been 0-9 in Kentucky Derbies. He's now 0-10. Or he was 0-8, now 0-9, 0-9, or now 0-10. Anyway, he hasn't won at the Kentucky Derby. That race, Spinoni, and the call of the race, and the photo finish. I was watching that live, and after all they had to wait for we got to wait for the photo. We got to check the replay out. It was one of those sports moments I'll never, ever forget. I had goosebumps running up and down my spine. I don't know what it was. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. Maybe I'm getting old and sensitive. But that race and what it produced, from the race, the closeness of it, the owners, the production, the broadcast, the presentation by NBC, I was blown away. It's one of the most memorable sports moments I can remember.
So Mystic Dan beats out Sierra Leone, and it really was one of the craziest photo finishes I've ever seen. Bonte, I don't know if you know this. I actually grew up in the horse racing business, if you will. My dad, the great Bob Spinoni, who you met at my 30th birthday last year, he actually worked at an off-track horse racing place called Monterey Bay Race Place. Okay. Yeah, where you can bet on the ponies. My whole life. So when I was a kid, I'd go over there after golf practice and I'd be hanging out, doing my homework in the back. People would be coming up, placing their bets, placing their wagers and stuff like that. And then, every time I'd go there, I'd get one bet I could do. He's like, all right, Joe, in this race, pick a horse, whoever you like. I'll put $5 on it. And then you'll see if you win. I won a couple times. I wasn't bad. So I've been placing horse bets, Bonte, since I've been wearing diapers, basically. Wow. So it's ingrained in my DNA. I'm not as huge of a enthusiast as some of my other brothers are. Right. There is a science to it. If you can do your research and stuff like that, you can make some good cash. But watching it and the call, I don't think my guy, Larry Colmus or Colmus, I think is the voice on NBC.
He's unbelievable.
He every single time. And that was a true photo finish, winning by a nose. And trust me, I know about winning by a nose. Shout out to Schnoz. It's real and it's spectacular. Twitch and YouTube, you can see it right now. But it is one of the true, like, great events in sports that I do think gets slept on. And that's a bucket list for sure.
Lubman, if you can, go on the thread, pull that call. I want the entire race call from the Kentucky Derby. I want the entire call. We'll play it for our audience. Listen, Mystic Dan won by a nose. It drew the Kentucky Derby, 150th Kentucky Derby. Drew 16.7 million viewers. That was the biggest audience for the race since 1989.
It's unbelievable.
Hey, dude, the biggest audience since 1989, and I was locked in. Spinoni, I'm not being hyperbolic. Pardon me. I was just blown away because we all appreciate great broadcasters. John Madden, Vince Scully, Pat Summerall, Dick Enberg, Keith Jackson,
Jim Nance.
You name it, Jim Nance,
Buck.
John Miller, Joe Buck, our very own Dave Fleming. We appreciate great broadcasting. That entire race from Ahmed Fareed, from Mike Tirico to the presentation to the actual race call, I was just like, wow, this is broadcasting excellence. Put it up for it, Amy. I was blown. Spinoni, I can't believe it. I was by myself. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe I'm too old. I don't know.
It was a great day for NBC. Maybe NBC Sports own Bonte Hill next year at the Kentucky Derby live. You wearing the horse socks or what, Bonte?
Dude.
Wearing the suit?
I have to go.
You got to. It's a bucket list thing. I want to go one day with my dad as well. Obviously, there's the Preakness, there's the other ones, but the Kentucky Derby is the quintessential race in all of horse racing. And maybe a guy Nikola Jokic, maybe one day. I know he's out in Serbia. I know he likes his horses and stuff like that. Maybe one day he'll be a part of that. One of his horses.
By the way, Mystic Dan, the jockey, and the owner, they doubled. They won the Kentucky Oaks on Friday, Kentucky Derby on Saturday. It's the first time, I believe, a horse has doubled up. If I'm not mistaken, the first time they doubled up since, I believe, 1952.
That's crazy.
So a lot of history made it to Kentucky Derby, and that concludes our horse racing.
I'm not mad at that.